Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of 3D Prototyping in Unity. My name is Kasanas. In the last episode we built ourselves a flamethrower and we did so with existing materials, with existing prefabs. That's how the game has been set up. So we can very quickly create brand new weapons, any type of projectile weapon that you want, simply by changing out a handful of values. Alright, the actual model or the image itself is strictly that, nothing more. It's just something that looks different. Alright, all of the work is done in something that's called the gun muzzle, and we make some changes within there and boom, we've got ourselves a brand new weapon. So hopefully you guys will go through and make yourself a bunch of different weapons. In today's episode, what we're going to take a look at is actually creating the inventory system and making the graphical changes that are going to allow us to be able to see that we've got a brand new weapon in place. Alright guys, let's get started. Okay guys, so our weapons are all set up. We've got ourselves two weapons right now, our assault rifle and our flamethrower. You may have additional weapons, and it doesn't really matter, because what we're doing today is going to allow you to switch between any number of weapons you really want to switch between. I'm going to keep it to two, flamethrower and assault rifle as demonstration. We're going to need to make a few changes to code, and that's what this whole episode is really going to be about, the code involved in creating our weapon switching. This might be a little bit of a longer episode. The last one was short, so you got lucky there. This one's going to be a little bit longer, I'm afraid. All right, so first thing I want you to do is go in and find your gun muzzle on your assault rifle or whatever. It doesn't really matter which one you pick on whatever weapon, and we've got a number of different currently existing scripts within here. We've got our fire bullet script and our melee script, and the melee script is really just in charge of the melee damage we do, so we're not going to do anything to that one. We are going to make some changes to our fire bullet script, and our fire bullet script is where everything, well, let's just open it. Double click on it to open it up. There it is. Hopefully this is zoomed in enough. Let's try view. Let's just zoom in. That should be plenty close enough. All right, it's zoomed way in. It's already the right color. Our fire bullet script was really in charge of a lot of different things. It tracked the player ammo. It tracked how much damage it does, how fast it fires, what it fires. It tracks everything like that. The sounds it makes, everything like that are all within here. So we're going to make a few changes within this script itself. I'm going to go down and I'm going to go just below in the area where I'm still making my initial declarations. I'm going to go in and I'm going to put some graphic info in here. And basically what we want to do is we want to give our player a heads up they've switched weapons or something's changed within the game itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of things in here. We're going to add a public sprite that I'm going to call, I don't know, weapon sprite. Weapon sprite is what I'm going to call it. And basically this is going to be the actual image that represents our weapon. If we go back over here for a second, well, I'm grabbing my mouse. This mouse over here. If we go in here for a second, I scroll back so we can see our GUI. This is the image. This is the actual sprite that I used to demonstrate that we had the assault rifle, and I have something different for the flamethrower. All right, and this sprite is located within an image on my GUI, on my graphical user interface. Let's go back to our player here. All right, let's zoom in. All right, so let's go back to our code. That weapon sprite is just strictly the actual sprite that shows which weapon we've got. I'm going to add a public image that I'm going to call weapon image. Weapon image. All right, and the weapon image is the location on the GUI where we're holding our sprite. That's all that's going to be, okay? And I don't really need anything else for now that I don't think I do. Maybe later I will. Go down to the very bottom and let's add ourselves a new public void function that we're going to call initialize weapon. And when the player is first allowed to use this weapon, we're going to run this simple function. All right, and I put in my brackets to make sure we've got everything in place. All right, maybe I'll make this one bigger just in case. I know some guys are having a hard time seeing it, so I'll make sure I zoom in a little bit more. All right, there we go. So our initial, maybe even one more. I know a lot of people are saying, I can't see your code. There, that's huge. Even my grandfather could read that. All right, there we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this function, and I'm going to basically set it up so when the player first uses this weapon, it does certain things to indicate and to set up the behavior of this weapon. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I think I called it. Yeah, gun muzzle AS. So gun muzzle AS is the audio source that we actually have for this weapon. And what I want to do is I'm going to set the gun muzzle AS clip equal to our reload sound. And I think we called it reload sound. Yeah, we did. Reload sound. Good. So right away, our clip is set to the reload sound, and I'm just going to play that clip. Gun muzzle AS dot play. And it's going to play that particular sound. So as soon as we pick up this weapon or switch to it, it's going to make the noise that whatever the gun muzzle reload sound is. Whatever the reload sound is, it's going to make that sound. So the player is going to hear audibly immediately that something has changed in the game itself. Great. The next thing I'm going to do is set up our next bullet to equal to 0 so that our player can fire this weapon immediately. This might allow us a roundabout way of switching back and forth and allow us to to reload faster. It kind of is. I'm not going to put in any error checking in or anything like that. If you guys want to, let me know. We can talk about it in another episode. I'm just not going to put it in for now. For now, whenever they switch to a weapon, they can fire it right away. And yeah, anyway. Not the best way of doing it, but I'm trying to do this quickly so you guys can see it at least. All right, so that's great. It can fire right away. I also want to set up my ammo count. What did I call it? I call it player ammo slider. I want to set up my player ammo slider to reflect the fact that we've got a new weapon, right? The LMG holds 100 rounds, and the flamethrower I set up, I think, to hold 10 rounds. So I want to make sure that it's reflected there. So my player ammo slider max value is going to be equal to our max rounds. Is that what we call it? Yeah, max rounds. So the maximum number of rounds that this given weapon can have. And I'm also going to set my player ammo slider dot value. And the value is going to be set equal to whatever our current, what did I call it? Did I not call it current rounds? Let's go back to the top and see. I can't remember. Bullet info, starting rounds. Next bullet, what did I call you? Remaining rounds, I called it. Remaining rounds. All right. It's going to be set equal to our remaining rounds. Remaining rounds. Okay, so if we only had, 4 shots left or whatever, then that's what it's equal to. The last thing I'm going to set is I'm going to set my weapon image dot sprite. So the actual sprite of the image is going to be set equal to our weapon sprite, and that way we're going to get a graphical indication immediately that we've switched weapons as well. So we've got an audio reload sound as well as a switch in the weapon. We're going to add some animation to it in a little bit as well. This is a public function, so which means we're going to allow something else is going to go through and trigger this initialized weapon. I mean, we can trigger it internally as well, but we're not going to. We've set it up as public so that something else can go through and trigger it. And that something else we'll create right now as well. So I'm just going to simply file, save this, and now we'll go in and we'll create the actual weapon inventory. With that saved, what we really want to do now, let's close this off for a second. What we really want to do now is go back to our character. Let's go back to, why am I... going on here? All right, there we go. Let's go back to our character, and on the top level of our soldier, on the top level of our player, what I'm going to add is I'm going to add a brand new script. We don't really need any of this stuff right now, so I'm going to close all this stuff off for now. We don't need an animator. We don't need our audio source. We don't need any of this stuff right now. What I do want to add in here, I'm going to add a component, and I'm going to add a brand new script that I'm going to call inventory manager. All right, this is going to be our system for making sure that we have everything properly set up and that we are actually switching properly. I'm going to double click that to open it up. Boom, boom. And when I do, bam, I'm going to get a graphical error, so I'm going to switch out for a second. I'm going to go back to it, back to you. All right, there we go. And basically what I want to do now is go in here and create the information that's going to allow us to switch through our different weapons. So to start off with here, we have to say immediately using Unity engine .ui. So we have full access to our UI elements. Great. Right here, right below this, basically what we want to do is we want to add a number of things. We want to add a public array of game objects. That's an array that we're going to call weapons. All right, great. And we're going to add a array of bools that we're going to call weapon available. And basically, our list of weapons are going to be what's in our hand. And for each one, we're going to have a true or false whether or not it's currently available. For now, we're going to have them all set to available. Later on in another episode, we'll set up a pickup that will allow you to pick up new weapons. I'm sure you guys want to do that, so we'll add that on as an additional video a little bit later on. Okay, and we're going to add in here a public image that we're going to call weapon image with a small m, weapon image. And basically that's the thing we took a look at before. It's the image of the weapon itself on the GUI so you can see what you've got going on. I'm going to add an int that I'm going to call current weapon. All right, and that's all we're going to add for now. We'll come back and we'll add in some animators and stuff later on, but for now, that's all we're going to add. We're going to start off in our start function, and boom, boom. And what I'm going to add, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say my weapon, I'm going to set my weapon available size of that array. So the weapon available is going to be equal to a new array of bools that's the same size as the public weapons dot length. All right, so that way they're exactly the same size. That's all we've done there is set up those two arrays so they're the exact same size. Now, what I'm going to do is to start off with, I'm going to turn all of my weapon availables to be false. So none of my weapons are going to be available, and I'm only going to turn on the ones that I want to be available to start off with. All right, so int I is equal to 0, and we're going to go for I is going to be less than weapons. Oh God, weapons.length. I'm having a really hard time typing today. It's obviously time for a little break. Weapons.length, and we're going to go through and increment one at a time. And all we're going to do is set our weapon available I equal to false. So basically we're just saying, to start off with, none of our weapons are available. Now we're going to change that right away. We're going to set our current active weapon. This is just to initialize it, equal to 0. And 0 is going to be where our LMG is located. So we're going to start off with our LMG available. And what we're going to do basically then is say that our weapon available for our current weapon is going to be true. So all we've done is turned back on one weapon. And you know what? For now, I'm going to remove this. Let me remove this for now. Let me say, I'm just going to remove it right here. Bang, bang. Later on, when we go through and we actually create a pickup for each weapon, we'll be able to do this. For now, what I'm going to do, and this is going to seem a little bit redundant, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it right here. Paste. And for now, I'm just going to turn every weapon back to true. So for test purposes, for right now, all of our weapons that we have are going to be available. I've only got 2, but I'm setting this up so you could have as many as you actually wanted. And let me just save this, file save. Later on, we're going to come in and we're going to remove this and put this line back, and that's going to allow us to start off with only a single weapon on at the time. All right, and I want to do a couple of things here. So right now, if we take a look, we go back here and take a look. We take a look at our assault rifle. It is currently active, and our flamethrower is deactive. The active state is false, and that makes it invisible. And with this one here, if I set it to false, then it becomes invisible as well. So only the things with an active state of true are going to be visible. What I want to do in code is basically that same thing. I want to start off, and I want to deactivate all my weapons so that all of the weapons are off to begin with, and only turn on the one that I currently want available. And to do that, I'm going to have to create a function. Let me go down here and create it. I'm going to create a function, and I'm going to call it, it's going to be a void, and I'm going to call it deactivate, deactivate weapons. That's what I'll call it, deactivate weapons. It's not going to take any variables, and it's going to just simply be this. And it's simply going to be a single line of code. All we want to do is set the active state of each of these things to inactive. All right. So I'm going to grab this 4 again because this is how long we want it to go. I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste it right here. All right, and basically we want to go through each of our weapons. So I. And we're going to set the active state to false. That's all we're going to do. So all this does is go and make everything invisible. All right, and later on we are going to need a void. Later on we're going to have something set up so that we can go through and activate an individual weapon to make sure that an individual weapon becomes available through a pickup. So I'm going to add that right now. I'm going to have a public void, and that's going to allow a pickup to actually make the change. And I'm going to call this one here activate weapon. And all this is going to do, it's going to take one thing. I'm going to call it an int called which weapon. And I'll put it in my braces. And all this thing is going to do is turn the bool to true to make the weapon available. That's all it's going to do. So weapon available, which weapon? Close that off. Is equal to true. That's all I'm going to do. All right, is turn this weapon on. We're not going to even use this right now. This is for later on, but I might as well put it in now. File and save this. We're going to need to. So let's go to the top again. Let's go back to our actual our start function, and let's deactivate all our weapons. So all of our weapons are deactivated. Deactivate weapons. Boom, boom. All right, and what I want to happen after I deactivate it what I want to happen after I deactivate it is I want to actually set whatever weapon I currently have available back on. All right, so I'm gonna create a brand new public function. I'll create another update right here, and this is going to be a public void function. And basically all it's going to do is make sure that whatever weapon I've got set up is set up properly. All right, so I'm going to call this set weapon active. And it's going to take an integer, int, and once again, I'll just call it which weapon. Which weapon? So it's going to be our active weapon. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so in set active, all I'm going to say is if the weapon is not available, then get out of here. All right, weapon available for which weapon? Oops, not. It's going to be square brackets. Which weapon? So if it's not true, then return. Get out of here. You can't do anything here. All right? Good. Let me just file, save that. Actually, I've saved this wrong. It should just be, if not, which weapon. There we go. That's the same thing. That's what I wanted to say. Not the other way, because the other way would not work. File, save. Boom. All right, let's say that again. All right, perfect. Now, what I want to happen next, so it's gone. If it's not the right one, then get out of here. All right? If we don't have this available to us as a weapon, then get out. We made a mistake. All right. Deactivate all the weapons. We already have our deactivate. Deactivate all of our weapons. Boom. All right, and then we're only going to activate the one we want actually to activate. So we're going to say weapons. Which weapon? Dot set active. True. All right, so we're setting the one visible, and that way we can actually see it working. And the last thing we want to do is we want to go into our Firebolt script, which we already took a look at, into our Firebolt script, and we want to find our initialize weapon script. All right, and this is currently, so we're doing this right now on our soldier, and our soldier is going to try and find in our list. We've actually given it this weapon and this weapon here. We want to actually find the gun muzzle, and we want to try and find the initialized weapon on the gun muzzle. So to do so, we can't just simply go to the weapon because the weapon is the top level. Where was I typing this? Not in here at all. In here. So what we want to do is we want to go to our weapons. And like I said, weapons is actually our top layer. Which weapon? And we want to look for the component, get component, in the children. The component, get component in children. So it's going to basically be looking for the fire bullet script somewhere down below, and it is down below. It's actually in the gun muzzle. So we're looking for our fire bullet script, and once we got it, we want to use the initialize weapon script. Perfect. All right, and that takes nothing. Boom, and let me file save that. All right, and later on we're going to come in here and we're going to we're gonna actually set up this so that an animation plays, but we'll do that later on. The way this is looking, I'm gonna have at least 2 more episodes of this silly short inventory system. Anyway, so back up in our start. Now we can call our set weapon active. And which weapon is it? It's going to be our current weapon. All right, so now that we've called that, great, our current weapon is available to begin with. Now, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set this up so that it's polling to see if the player has actually pressed any of the input buttons, or not any, the input button in particular that we are interested in. So toggle weapon is going to go here. All right, and we're basically going to look and see if someone's pressed the button. So if input dot get, and we're not going to use our get access like we did before. We're going to use our get key. We're going to use our get button down. Get button down, and we're still going to use an axis though. We're going to use our submit axis. Where's my quotations? Oh my god, I definitely need to go have lunch because my brain is barely working. All right, we're definitely using our submit, and there's no semicolon after that, and there's not enough stuff here. Oh my god. All right, if I have no errors when I'm done typing this stuff, I'm going to be shocked. So we're going to basically be looking for our submit button and our submit axes. If you want to take a look at what that is again, if you don't remember, we can go back over here for a second. We can take a look at our edit. We can take a look at our projects, our project settings, our input, and you can scroll through this axes list to find submit. And submit is right here. It's our return value. So if we hit return, it's the same thing as submit. All right, so we're going to use our submit. And yeah, so if they've actually hit submit, we want to go through the weapons and turn on the next available weapon. It's not going to be, we could set up so you can push a button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever. I'm going to set it up so that instead that if you hit your return, whenever you hit return, it's going to go through and look for the next weapon. So it's going to basically be like scrolling through. I think that's how the original Doom worked, if I remember correctly. Anyway, int I is going to be equal to just int I for now, and we're going to send int I equal to the appropriate thing here. So for I equals, and to start off with, we're going to start off by looking at our current active weapon. We're going to start looking there at our current active weapon plus 1. So whatever our current weapon is, take a look at the one after that, and we're going to go. As long as I is less than our weapons dot length, the ones at length. So as long as we're less than that, we're going to keep going, and we're going to say I plus plus. All right, and we're going to go in here and do our for loopy thing. All right, boom, boom, boom. All right, so if the weapon's available, so if it's actually true, so if weapon available I is actually equal to true, equals true, then we can switch to this weapon. So let's go in here, boom, and what do we want to do? I want another one of these first of all, make sure I don't screw anything up. So if it's actually equal to true, we want to come in here. We want to set our current active weapon, our current, did I only call it current weapon? Have I been screwing this up the whole time? I did. Let's call it current active weapon, because I've been typing current active weapon, haven't I? Current, no, maybe I better not. See, that's what I'm doing, guys. I'm making a lot of mistakes here. Current weapon. I'm definitely going to have errors when this is done. Current weapon. Let's keep our fingers crossed at the place I put it. Current weapon is going to be equal to, our current weapon is going to be equal to I. All right, so we've reset our current weapon equal to I. Then we want to set our weapon active to our current weapon. And lastly, we want to return. We want to get out of here. We found our next weapon. Let's get the heck out of here. Now, that's the end of our for loop, right? But what if we didn't find our weapon? What if we loop around and we haven't found it? It's behind us somewhere. So we're going to start over at 0. So for I equals 0. And we want to go to our current active weapon. I is less than our current weapon, not active weapon. Don't keep saying that, Kasanas. You keep saying the wrong words and you're typing the wrong thing. All right, our current weapon. And we're going to go up one at a time. Bang, bang, bang. And once again, we want to do exactly the same thing. We want to drag this. We're going to copy this whole thing. We want to return at the end. Copy and boom. Paste. So once again, if our weapon's true, if it's available, take the first one that's available and set it equal to true. Set that to our current weapon. Set it equal to active and get out of here. All right, and I think we are currently missing one of these guys. All right, file, save. Now, with that in place, that's all we should have to do. I know I'm going to have errors in here, so I'm going to file, like I said, file, save that, and I'm going to now see what happens when I run it. All right, let's give it a try. If everything is right, when I come in here, I shouldn't see any errors. Oh, I don't. I'm completely shocked at that. Now, let's go in and take a look at our actual character. So in our actual character, our actual soldier right now, we should have a number of different things. We should have our weapons list and our weapon image. So first of all, our weapon image is easy. Let's scroll down and find our canvas and find our player weapon image and drag that and drop it in there. So great, so far so good. Now I got to come up here and I'm going to drag in each one of these weapons one at a time. So I'm going to grab my assault. I can shift select, but I'm going to say assault rifle, and I'm going to drag it and drop it in weapons. And when I look at it, I should have one assault rifle. I now can drag and drop my flamethrower. And when I add it, I should be able to have two. My first one, element 0, is my assault rifle, and that's how I've set it up. So I should automatically start with my assault rifle. All right. I also made changes to our gun muzzle. I don't think we have to change anything on here. Oh, yeah, we do. I didn't set this one up yet. We have our weapon sprite. I thought I changed this, but maybe I didn't. Our weapon sprite, I'm going to go down here, find our weapons oh, no, what am I saying? Our weapon image is the one down here. I obviously haven't changed this yet. Our weapon image, let's drag this and put that one in there. All right, and we have to do exactly the same thing for our muzzle, our flamethrower. Let's grab our image and put it in there, our player image, weapon image, and put it in there. Each of these sprites is a different sprite. I have them in my projects, in my sprites, no, I must call it textures, my textures folder. And let's see, so there's my flamethrower one, and let's just set that one up first. Let's go to our flamethrower, muzzle, and right here, I'm going to drag my flamethrower sprite, which I apparently can't do. How come I can't? Sprite. Oh, because it's not a sprite, it's a texture there. That's why. If you have the same problem, what you have to do, click on the actual image itself. It's currently, we're in a 3D project, so it's currently set up as a texture. Just simply change it to sprite. Go in here, say sprite 2D, all right, and apply. Bang, and it's going to apply appropriately. Now, when I go to my muzzle, I can drag this and I can drop it in place. There's my flamethrower. Let's go to our assault rifle and find our assault rifle and drag it and drop it in place. Okay, file. I'm going to save this entire scene because I got my fingers crossed. And when I hit play, I should start off with my assault rifle. That's the only thing I see. Great. That's so far so good. Now when I hit my return, bam, I switch over into my flamethrower. And my flamethrower also works appropriately. Great. Oh, I pushed some other button. That made me, my jump is making me switch. So right now, right now my axes are not set up right. So it's working, but my axes are not set up right. I'm actually happy because I'm so tired. My code should not have worked at all. Let's go in here, file, and take a look at our, what am I saying, edit, and take a look at our project settings, our input, and find our submit. Submit. It's saying that submit has the option of the return button, but submit also has the option of our spacebar. Let's dump spacebar out here. We do not want an alternative. Only enter. All right, cool. File. Do I have to apply this? Do I have to apply it, or is it automatically set up? It automatically sets up. File. Save this again and play. Now, if I hit return, I'm swapping back and forth. You can see that my currently, let me move over a little bit here. Ooh, I'm gonna die. We can see that currently I actually have, if I take a look at just down here in the GUI and I hit return, my GUI itself is swapping over. So now I can see I've got a flamethrower and I've got a full amount of ammo. If I switch back to my assault rifle, I have a full amount of ammo. I have only half amount of ammo, and it's actually upgraded appropriately. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to fire off a few rounds. That's perfect. Let's go over here and kill our dude off. Our super powerful flamethrower. Dead. Grab the heart. Run back over here. Now you can see that currently I have a small amount missing. I've fired off a few shots from my flamethrower. If I switch back to my assault rifle and I pick up the bullets, gotcha. And I switch back to my flamethrower, my inventory is still showing the appropriate amount of ammo. This is working as it should as of right now. So guys, this has been a really long episode. I'm going to call it right now, and when we come back, we will be able to set it up so we're picking up the appropriate things and at appropriate times, and lastly, we're going to be able to set up our animation for our actual GUI. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. I'm going to go take a break for a little while, so I'm not as tired, and I'm typing appropriately. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below with a thumbs up if you did. If you didn't, a thumbs down is perfectly fine. I'm hoping for thumbs up. To be honest, I'm hoping for that. So guys, thumbs up, thumbs down, comments down below, and if you haven't done so, please take a few seconds to subscribe. Have yourselves a wonderful day, everyone.